We do have a quorum. Ashley sent out the minutes to the meeting previously. Does anybody have any additions, corrections, or subtractions to the agenda as presented now?
Motion to accept.
Okay. So the minutes as presented, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Same for the minutes. The minutes were sent out. You should have a copy of those. If not, any additions, corrections, subtractions to the minutes as presented. If not, I'll take a motion to approve those. So moved. Mike, is there a second? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Director's report.
So I pulled total as of, it's actually going to be reflecting as a payroll for May 8th for tomorrow, but statewide fund balance is $352,371. April, we celebrated Dispatcher Week. Just want to thank everyone that contributed to our week. Sprinkled everybody with kindness, but they had a great week. Thank everyone for that. April 28th and 29th, Carla and I, a little over, was that last week, I guess it was. Carla and I attended the State 911 Director Summit. It was a 2-day conference. Enjoyed it a lot, got a lot of benefit training out of it. Able to speak with a lot of directors and also the state board. A lot of things that they were talking about. They're also kind of contemplating about possibly increasing the 911 fees. There's no solid decision on that, but they are weighing that pretty heavily, which would be more funding coming down the pipe. But that is just talk right now, but that may be within the next year or two of them possibly doing an increase on state fees. One thing that we did here, I don't know if you guys remember, but when we were talking about upgrading 911 for our center, and we made the decision to go with this Vesta product within Digital, we also got a quote from Digital to upgrade our current system, which is Solacom. That quote came in around $70,000. And a good thing we did not, because the upgrades are not getting supported anymore. And we found out that there's a couple of counties that have done that, and they're pretty much just kind of hanging out there and don't have any support with the Solacom County system. So we made a good decision. And speaking about that, it's been about a year since we made that decision to go with Vesta, with Motorola product that Digital's doing. That is coming up here, moving forward here in May. First week of install starts May 18th. It's really not going to involve us so much as it will with Josh and his team. Pretty much in Digital, I guess, right? They're going to be more remote doing their install. They may have somebody on site, but I think it sounds like it's going to be more remote work. The second week, May 26th, it's more configuration work. And then third week, June 1st, is setting up training for our dispatchers, getting them in, the 3-hour training process. And then the final week, fourth week, we go live, which will be June 8th. And so we're asking for everyone's patience as we maneuver through this new system with public safety and everybody. It'll be a big adjustment for the dispatchers as they adjust to it.
Could there be any disruption?
I hope not. It should be a smooth transition. Do you anticipate anything from what they said? I don't think so either. It should be a smooth transition, and I'm sure it's probably gonna be maybe a couple of stations during the way it was talked. We'll probably have maybe one or two up, depending on how many operators we've got on the new, and then have some of the old stuff as well. And also with that, the Mevo, which are our backup 911 phone systems, we're doing this whole upgrade that they will be upgraded to get additional backup phones at each of our 4 fuel stations as well. So right now we have 2, and we also have them in our pack, our Pelican cases that we take with us in emergency situations. But we'll have, currently we've got 2 Mevo backup phones, 911s in case our 911 terminals go down. We'll have 4 on our stations. We'll get those as well.
Your headphones support that secondary phone, or is that just like a physical phone?
Yeah, it's just a physical phone. And speaking of that, since you mentioned that, this is another thing that dispatchers are gonna have to get used to that is gonna be new. This is probably gonna be the biggest adjustment, is our admin lines are now gonna get moved into our headsets as well. Right now, it's radio traffic in our 911, but our admin lines, I see actually lines get big. It's transitioning into the admin lines. We're going to move into the headsets as well. So bear with us. A big
Question on that. Will there also be external audio? So like you're on the phone with somebody and the radio is going off.
We do have the external audio speakers. And that's the whole reason as well why I've been trying to build our roster so you can have and adjust that minimum staffing. Right now, the minimum staffing is 2, and we're getting there. We're making that progress, but we're also needing to add some consoles. I mean, you go in and you see the 4 stations, but as we add to our roster, we've got to add consoles. Consoles take money as well. So it's getting there. We're making progress. So just know June 1st, second week of June, and I'll let you guys know when we're getting ready to make that transition. It's going to be a big adjustment. So Amber Scholl has been released from training. We're very excited for Amber's accomplishment. She moved into being released on April 21st. Delaney Holt, she came from the jail. We're so excited to have her, right, Sheriff? She's getting ready to get released on May 11th. So 2 of our trainees went through training and they're getting ready to get released. We had a 3rd trainee, wasn't able to make it through the process, and that's okay. But we are hiring for that final spot that would have been our full staff from our old roster. But because of that, we're going to be hiring for that last spot. But those 2 additional positions that were approved by council for 2026 budget. So for 3 spots, we're in the middle of the hiring process. We're hiring for those 3. We didn't hire for those other 2 before because we had 3 in training. And we don't want to overdo it with our CTOs. Having 3 in training is a lot. So we're going to hire for 3, and that should make us up to full staff for total staff of 19. So centers getting painting and flooring next week. Flooring will be going in overnight shift. So you may hear something come across the radios. Hopefully it won't be too noisy. Levinstein's is going to be putting some vinyl plank flooring, restrooms, kitchen area, and the external entry doorways. It should be hopefully minimal, but it's over. They're going to be working from 11 p to 7. And then county maintenance has been working on painting in the center. We had a couple of silver alert activations recently, which I'm sure everybody in here is aware of, which has led us to look over after the after action review, our amber alert, silver alert process, and taken on some ideas that we're going to look at incorporating. Chief Stormer, you had sent us, something with the medical director. Was that something, as well, which we can get into, but will she sign off on that with a signature?
Yeah, so I sent the initial draft just to make sure that it was covering everything that we need, as Matt was not at the after action, but I had spoken to Matt a day after that, and as we were discussing things, and yes, we'll have a physical copy of
A
whatever
signature.
whatever we come up with that we can
Okay.
all share and have that. This was just to, so she knows what she's
Idea.
signing and she sees what we're doing and trying to do, and also, you know, the kind of steps was not to say that's what your policy needs to be, just giving guidance for protocols of, is there a, you know, the part of, is there, if we're not sure if mental impairment is part of it, then call the ER doctor and ask them. That's what we would do for medical things, just to dot our I's and cross our T's, should that be. We should never have to get to that point, but it is there. But yes, there will be a physical signature, wet signature in wherever we decide to distribute that, once we decide what we're going to do. I don't want to ask Matt to have her sign anything until she can actually read the policy and see how it's going to go, since we are using her name and license number. Obviously, we owe that.
And I have had a conversation with her. She's good signing.
Okay,
So
so it's not a policy for us in dispatch because it's IDAX, it's more of a standard operating guideline.
Sure.
So we don't put it as a policy, per se, so it shouldn't have to run through here. It's just a guideline for the dispatchers so that if they get it, they know step by step of what they need to do for IDAX.
We're just trying to
Yeah,
shorten
streamline
that,
it. for sure.
streamline it and shorten that time frame of, we get to that 7th or 8th box and of whoever's.
And we're not hung up on.
Yeah,
the medical
filling
side.
that out online.
Yeah.
And, oh, what do we do? How do we do this? You know, that could save, depending on what time of day it is, that could save anywhere from 5 to 35 minutes.
Oh, absolutely.
And
So we are
getting that done.
Yeah, we are working on that. I have assigned a couple of dispatchers that are keying in on the premise platform, which is that building that business contact list. And we've run into a couple of hiccups with it. But I'm gonna get with Chief Stormer after the meeting, see if we might be able to iron some of those out with the information that we're getting through the fire department. But that is going on. I think in the last meeting at which I was out, I was currently on vacation, and Carla had mentioned in February 9th, we had went through some training, and we were self-dispatching with Stafflight and PHI Aeromedical from the consoles. That was done on February 9th. Shortly thereafter, I took Spear with Lifeline, and he too had mentioned that they use the same software as Stafflight and showed interest. After meeting with him, I felt like it was valuable for him to be here at the 911 meeting. So they are here and on the agenda to speak about what they have to offer for our community. So you'll get to hear them here shortly. As far as that on the horizon, what we have coming up, obviously the VESTA, the 911 upgrade, the radius mapping, the mass notification system premise, we're still working on. And also we have a station 5, it does not have 911. I'm looking at getting budget numbers to add a full station, which it's just right now like a small desk, like what we have in here. I'm looking at getting numbers to make it a console desk, and also numbers to get a 911 station at that console. I feel like it's needed since we're adding our roster, because we are with those 2 new hires, we can get them released. We will be adding a C shift to the dispatch so we can have a minimum staffing, hopefully at 3. The last thing I have is basically just thank firefighters for this week, for their appreciation this week for all that they do for our community. And that's it.
The whole business. So the interlocal agreement was finally signed by both the commissioners and city council, which is obviously why there's somewhat of a different crowd here. Just so as a review slash on the record, this interlocal agreement basically broke the boards up from really 2 to 3. We have an IDAX board, which is the chief of police, the assistant chief of police, the sheriff, the chief deputy, and then the dispatch director. Then we have the executive board, which is all of you standing here or sitting here with, advisory board, which is the city fire chief, county fire representative, city police chief, county sheriff, IT, EMA, emails, and then proxies, and then the 2 non-voting members of the secretary treasurer or secretary and the dispatch director. Then the third is the fiscal, or I guess the executive, which is made up of a county commissioner, the city mayor, county council, and a city council representative. So clear as mud, yes. Inlay. Yeah, it's still like actually you don't vote, you're just the information presenter. So yeah, clear as mud there. St. Paul Adams mutual aid change. St. Paul is, Daniel Pennington did provide notification that in a county fire meeting that they are okay with Adams making their mutual aid. They've been being requested through that on numerous runs of, I believe, mostly.
And welcome to another episode.
We changed this way back when Adams was going through their trouble spot several years ago when we were meeting at the old EMA training room. We just need to, there needs to be a motion to return that back to Adams being St. Paul's primary, I guess you could say, mutual aid. Is that?
You said mostly medical, but just to clarify, because I've heard.
They've been going on both, but initially it was started because of the whole medical thing, and they did not have any EMS responders.
So I've heard through the grapevine that was only medical. So is there a difference? Is it only medical or is it full mutual aid again?
Personally, I think it should be full mutual aid.
Right.
I don't necessarily think it's why do we want to muddy the waters and split this up?
I agree, but
I had forgotten that we had voted on it honestly back in the day because I was just like, not even really how much does it really concern us as this board here, but there is a vote on it. So I would say that the vote that would be is the fact that it's everything. We're not going to split this up between fire and medical. I mean, if they ask you to send or request Waldron, then they will. But, instead of that, because Waldron's, pretty much said all, but we're not going to come make your medical calls for you in Decatur County. We'll help you with fires. But then Adams has said, well, we're more than willing. And now that Adams has EMS responders, they have seemed to take the burden off of St. Paul missing the call or not having any responders at all. They were informed at the last county chiefs meeting that this would be discussed and were encouraged to attend, but they are not here. Mike, did any of them reach out to you?
Did not.
I just want to make sure, like when I spoke with you, they're aware that it's full mutual aid.
I think Levi is.
Yeah.
I know Levi, but it's.
And I think from last I heard, Daniel was good with it.
Yeah, that's the way it sounded to me. And I mean, again, I don't necessarily know if they get much of an option. They've had multiple opportunities to attend these meetings or send a proxy or send a letter, a carrier pigeon, something to make the attempt of we're going to be here, and they're not.
And we've invited him multiple times to every meeting.
Absolutely.
Josh, how soon would that be able to switch for the mapping before we do a vote?
So I would change the response plans going back to the maps. We'll have to go through Jeff.
Did we ever change the maps though?
That we have 3 fire zones and mutual aid zones. So I think one of those, that was the intent. One of those was that change, but what I don't know is any change that's been made to fire zones since then,
Right.
if those were made on the old one.
Because it's more of a response.
Yeah,
Whether it's
response
turned
plan
around as a
would
response
change.
plan issue.
Right. And what'll kind of go with that too is we have some response plan mutual aid changes that need corrected on the maps anyway. I spoke with Curtis.
Right.
He's gonna try to draw all that out together for both north and south sides of Washington Township.
Yeah.
So what we may be able to do is just roll that all in together. We can update the response plans in 10 minutes. So the computer will tell them, but as far as changing the look of the maps, that'll have to go through Jeff to get redrawn or modified.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it would be, as far as here, say 30 days? To provide adequate timing,
Yeah.
and then if there is, if we need an extension, that we would have to reach out for an extension.
Yeah, I think the only thing that, and again, it's up to, the board, whatever, everyone thinks is knowing that we've got the other 2 to change as well. Do we want to make one change to update all of the zones?
It would be
I
great.
know that 30 days is
Fair for that.
fair for that, because we don't have the other 2 zones drawn yet. Not that I think it's gonna take much, it just needs to be done.
Right. Because we have the
Right.
warehousing issues, but we can
It's gotta be
lump
approved
all
by
that in the
each.
same. I mean, I'm good with just changing the response plan and then updating the maps as it's necessary. But if you feel uncomfortable doing that and want it both done at the same time, then we could vote on a go live date of August 1st.
Do the dispatchers dispatch based on the response plan or based on the map?
They do it by a response plan, but they also look at the maps as well.
The double check, sure.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to correct. right?
That's what we're trying to correct.
Right. Yeah, we have a
So-
few.
You have issues like if you've got both looking and then that causes a
Right.
confidence issue of the dispatch side. I mean,
It's always better to send more and call them off if you need to, but
if you're. I just don't want to do it, then it takes 2 months because
Right.
there's some issues of getting that stuff changed and I don't want to see it drag out. It's a thing. Too long.
but we don't control that. We're just making the decision, and then it's up to the people that do it to get it done.
What if we would just say set the target date for our next meeting? That would give 60 days.
For the mapping.
Yeah.
And then
For-
just
for
go
all of
ahead and
it,
do.
but with the goal of
response.
having it sooner, but I just hate to say we have to do it in 30 days, knowing that there's still a little more work.
Response plans, you said you can do
very quickly.
very quickly. We'll make it as immediate as possible and then we'll do the mapping within 60 days.
I think that would be.
All right.
Give everybody's.
You want to amend your motion? I'll still. No, I meant to add the 60
Yeah.
days.
Add 60 days, yeah.
Because if they're doing it now, they're just being requested to do it. So it's not. It's a little bit.
Change
more-
your response, or
Yeah.
change your response plan now. Add the mapping within 60 days by our next meeting.
Second,
Hold on. So for the minutes, Myers is making a motion to approve Adams Fire as St. Paul Fire's full mutual aid responding unit. Response plans will be updated almost immediately with a target date for mapping completion due within 60 days
Right.
from today,
Right.
Our next meeting, which is
July
July
2nd.
2nd.
second.
All those in favor, all those in favor, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Motion passes. Mike, will you forward that on to them, please? Thank you. Code red update, or whatever it's called. Which one of you three is doing that? So, don't all speak at once.
I can speak to the code red portion.
Go for it.
On the code red side, the discussion and the general consensus was we would go ahead and pay that remaining last year balance to Code Red, and that was done. And they were also given formal notice that it will not be renewed because they required a 60 days notice. And I informed them that this is their plus
1 year
60 days. Yeah, this is your plus 60-day notice, that it will not be renewed. I was informed by the Code Red team that they have made that notation in their system.
And we got a copy back from that as well, right?
Yes, I believe.
Can we
Yeah.
record
If
the
you
phone
don't,
call?
I can get it to you.
Like, yeah.
So that is in the process of being put to bed. The other aspects of it, we were still having difficulties with the iPause. But as I've been in there, it is back to functioning. It is live in there. And we also got new iPause certificates, which Code Red needed that as well. I guess it's an every 2 years thing that they require. We got that from FEMA. That was forwarded to Code Red, so that's all good on that end. And I sent copies of those to Josh as well, so that as he is looking at the architecture and the rollout of moving the iPause platform to Rave, they will have that necessary to hopefully make that a more seamless and expedited process. So. And it also does appear on the Code Red platform that weather alerts are functioning again. Whereas they had been broken severely, but I think that we've at least got it to where we can utilize it at this point.
Right? So, our last discussion with Motorola, and there's been, I think we actually talked about it on our Flex upgrade call, with Stella. We're getting a new account. What was Taylor? Yes.
Seller, that's what I said.
And
I go,
I think that might have gotten kind of lost in that translation. Leanne had the commissioner re-sign the agreement for Ray. In the technical discussion I had with them, they said that basically it would just appear in our portal for those that have access to send those kinds of messages. So basically, Mike and Gary. And there would be some additional training with that. In this process, Taylor has been moving around. We've not really talked with him. Leanne and I, we have met our new person, Leila. Okay, dang it.
I met her at,
Song.
I met her at.
Yeah. Oops. Anyway, we have not had that discussion with her to see where that is. I'll be completely honest, it may be something that has been activated. Mike and I just talked about it the other day, but it may not realize it yet because it won't show up for everyone.
I think she's going to try to come down here in the next month or so. But when I talked to her at Summit, she had the next like 6 weeks scheduled already.
yeah, I'm sure she is probably really overwhelmed, taken on, because like they haven't even reached out about the radius, like nothing, right?
Right.
Well,
And
she
which is
came-
fine, because
she
we
came from a
got a
different
lot going on, so.
different section completely of Motorola, so public safety is new to her.
So Ray hasn't been paid for, right?
Yeah, I haven't, because that comes out of my budget and they have billed on it, and he hasn't even billed on my radius mapping that we signed the contract last fall.
Contracts and turn up and things with Motorola
Are very slow.
They're great to send us bills.
Yeah.
Are they?
Well,
Not correct though. Just
You see the
bill.
one that we just got this week? At the end of last week?
not
Don't even get me started.
Well, it's got the new dates on it, but that dollar amount seemed wrong.
Don't even get me started.
All right. I'll
so
stop.
you have looked at it.
Yeah, so from the rate perspective, I talked to Mike, we just haven't had a chance to do it, but sit down and look and see if it is on, and they just haven't notified us yet. My guess is gonna be no,
I see.
because we haven't been billed, we haven't been.
I
on
think
it.
I'm thinking it's probably just sitting kind of like radius, And I think it's all been in that tailored transition.
Oh, you mean it's sitting on our $58,000 invoice that they want void and they keep billing us for? Is that what it is?
No, I don't think like they're sitting like that. I think it's just sitting because it's been a signed contract that's not been pushed through yet.
I know that they're still building a lot of it. I talked to Lyle when I was at Summit as well, and he kind of showed me where they were at on building some of the platforms. They've got the base has been built, but the coding is all wrong on a few of them. So he said until they get the coding corrected for it to work the way that it's supposed to work, they're not rolling it out to anybody.
One thing I'd like to add to that, since I've got everybody here for a moment on that, is when we get to the point of getting ready to push this all out to the public and get to that standing point, there are a couple things that I will be sending a lot of emails out on and seeing how we want this to look. I know one of the things that was discussed with all of our potential vendors when we went over this was, do you want to call it rave? Do you want to call it something else? Do you want to call it whatever? If you wanted to just call it Decatur County Public Alerts, or, and I'm just throwing examples out here, what we would want that to look like, what we want that to say, because then that would need to be designed in such a way that when it goes to wherever Josh has that public linked at, that the community goes to, that would need to be set up at that point. So if we want to call it rave, that's fine. I don't particularly have any opinion one way or the other on that, but wanted to at least get the consensus from all the parties of what they thought about. So you might keep that in the back of your mind. I've started working on trying to get ahead of the public push and already working on things of what that's going to look like, how I'm going to reach that out and push that out. And in designing some of that, I know that's going to be one of the big things that I'll need in place before I make that public push. And then also getting with Josh to decide where's that to be housed at for public reference going forward. So those are some things that I'll be addressing as soon as we're in that position to do that. I will be expecting to see things coming across the email about, what do you think of this? Does anybody have suggestions on this? And hopefully that's sooner as opposed to later, but I've already got some stuff started on it.
Just for time's sake, Justin, why don't you go ahead and go, and then we'll discuss the other stuff after that. You guys can get on with your day.
I know everyone in the room, so I won't have to introduce myself at the moment, but yeah, that's what you.
But there's a great podium here. You can use and stand on.
Is it level? Is it level? Because if it's not level, it'll throw me off for the entire presentation.
I'm pretty sure it ain't. That's it.
Oh my gosh, it's so large. It's solid. All right, I'm Justin. I am here today to talk to you. I want to use Bill's favorite presentation style and just be short, sweet, to the point. You know, the US now is so saturated with air medical that we all have options. I've been with Lifeline for a few years. I've got to see the inner workings, you know, since when I was here practicing. Now that he's back, I'll introduce these guys. So the fellow standing there, Matt Holm, he's our director of IT and billing services. Next to him is Travis DeVore. He is the manager of our comm center. So all of our intake out, our call volume, and all that stuff goes through it. And then that is my supervisor, Mike Boone, who is also representing today our director, Kristen Wyboda, who couldn't be here because she's in Shreveport handling business with our aviation department. So anywho, all that aside, I just want to talk about, you know, in air medical, we all pretty well do the same job with different variations from service to service. So I just want to talk about what we do that's different from other options that you as a county have available to you. The first and foremost, which is what and really kind of pointed it was her favorite aspect is our billing practices. Whenever a patient flies with Lifeline, they will not receive a bill. We'll bill the insurance company. They may see something come through if they do happen to, because we're big hospitals or big hospital organization. If they do receive that bill, all they have to do is call us, and we're not going to target them for any monies. That is something that I have noticed to be an amazing thing about Lifeline, obviously being attached to a not-for-profit rather than a for-profit model that they do. And I really feel like for this community would be a big benefit. Since 2022, with the No Surprises Act, emergency departments, air medical is in that, can't do surprise billing, take you to collections for emergency transports. But what has happened is emergency transports, what is an emergency transports and for-profit services have kind of bled that line about what is determined to be emergent and what is determined to be non-emergent. Because once it's determined to be non-emergent, then the No Surprises Act is convoluted, and those rules don't apply for the consumer anymore. So we just don't, right? Patients may be responsible for the deductible through their insurance company. Otherwise, whatever the insurance company doesn't pay, we don't burden our patients with anything on top of that. We do other things, medically, we are able to provide a large amount of blood to the patients. We carry 3 units of full blood or 6 units of split product if we can't get full blood, due to supply issues at the moment. We can do point of care labs. So we do like a basic panel plus blood gases in the air, on the ground, wherever we need to, which gives us the ability to more accurately treat our patients. And then the airframe that we use is, in my opinion, probably the most superior airframe available in the state. It's large. We have access to the entire patient. We don't have to delay transport, due to access issues. We can get in, get the patient on, and we can leave. Another perk for us is that we have an IFR approach into this helipad. What does that mean? That means, what does that mean? So it's IFR. You have 2 ways of flying under the rules that air medical flies with in this state or in this country. You have instrument flight rules, which means we can fly in clouds, right? That's the ceilings are lower, the cloud deck is lower, and as long as the temperature is warm enough, we can get up into the clouds. And our GPS system flies it for us. It's a really watered down, version of how it works. The other version of flying air medical in the country is visual flight rules. That means the cloud deck has to be higher, and you have to be able to see everything that's going on the ground to be able to launch and fly. In central Indiana, we are the only service that can provide that service to you. Does that mean that we will always be able to fly, when someone else is not able to? No, that's not the case. It is pilot to pilot on whether they will or not, but it is an option that we have. I don't know. Most of us were practicing when they were here, but when we were the pad here at the hospital, we developed that FR approach into here. Things that we also do is transport to the closest appropriate facility all the time. So we're always going to go downtown because it's the closest hospital to where we're at. Okay. I have these guys here. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, then please ask away. They can attest to our one-call system, which we use. We will launch our closest helicopter within 10 minutes of another known helicopter base. We will launch ours, but otherwise, if you call us and our closest helicopter is not the closest, we'll roll it to another service for you. So you don't have to worry about, oh, Lifeline can't do it. Pick up the phone, make another call. Oh, they can't do it. You know, we'll take care of it for you. If we get 2 turn downs from 2 different bases, we're going to stop and we're going to let you know that, you know, we've got 2 turn downs. The weather's not good enough. We're not going to be able to do this for you. And Travis can speak more to the actual policy of what we do in that instance. We also have something that we've developed recently. We don't have buttons. We don't mess with that stuff. What we do have is a link into our CAD system that will feed runs directly from your CAD system to us. No phone calls until we call to confirm, you know, the information. It frees dispatcher's hands up and basically,
Pre-launch.
yeah, you can pre-launch if, you know, we can set up automatic launch. We have other counties that do that for different call types. But to the basic function of it, we would be set up as an agency, just like Greensburg Fire in the CAD system. If you want Lifeline, and now we're on the call. The CAD alert gets sent to our CAD system. We start our call, and then within 2 minutes, we're calling down, hey, this is so-and-so with Lifeline. We saw we had an alert. We've gone ahead and better checked our base, what's going on. So, you know, with that, we free up dispatchers' hands and just make an already crazy difficult job just a little bit easier when the chaos of a run is going on.
Justin, can you go over your locations?
Yeah, so we've got a helicopter in Columbus. We've got a helicopter in Newcastle, which would be the primary service bases for this county. We also have a helicopter in Terre Haute, and we have another one in Frankfort, Indiana. Those are the adult Frankfurt. Yes.
And that was number 2
That is Neopedes
right now.
right now. So as of right now, the Mount Comfort helicopter is a dedicated Neopedes aircraft. And that is what they do. Every once in a while, if there's something going on, like from a hospital to hospital standpoint, we can put an adult peds team on there and do something like that. But primarily, that bird is going to be peds. If that changes, I will let you guys know.
But you said Newcastle's primary for this location?
No, Columbus would be.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, Columbus would be for sure. And, you know, from helicopter availability of this county, I actually got on to the city of Greensburg. That base is the same distance to here as the Rushville base for staff flight.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's why I was like.
because what I don't want
It's
to do is like add something and then try to pitch something to you and we're really not closest.
So like staff light right now, and staff light is, we do the one call to them. But obviously we can do the software, we reach out to them. If they're not available, they contact Lifeline. But their locations is Seymour, Rushville, Seymour, Greencastle, West Lafayette, Marion.
Yeah.
They also have one down in Madison. But you guys use the same software as what we currently use
We
for
use
staff
Flight
light as
Vector,
well, because they use that flight
We
vector.
use Flight Vector.
Right,
we
so
don't
the
really-
software that we have on our, which is not a big deal, it's just down, I mean, it's.
Yeah,
Just
just another.
Yeah, it's just so that's not a big deal. They're kind of starting to get familiar. Unfortunately, we've had utilize it frequently lately. So, and I think out of those, Lifeline's the one that's been responding lately.
We've been here a lot lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what the cause of that, if we've been first call on them or if we haven't been, but I know. that we've
It's been that they weren't available.
So the 2 that are, the one that I called was a direct request. So we just skipped that, but yeah, I think some of the other ones are.
So we're not locked in by a contract anybody,
There
correct?
is no contract. It was, and we had also pushed the talk buttons that sounded like a good thing for us. And it's basically, it was on each station. And so if the dispatcher, and it was just basically flexibility. It's kind of like our headsets, they could push to talk on our headsets. Well, these were push to talk buttons that the dispatcher, if they did want to use software, they could just hit a button and be talking directly to the operator with staff light and give them the information. Well, the problem is the way our consoles are set up and those external speakers. What happens when we're calling and needing a helicopter? The radio traffic is excessive. Everybody's talking at once. So it's loud in dispatch. So those push to talk buttons don't work. Ashley can speak from experience. She was working about a month ago and they can't hear you. So all that feedback is coming in at the same time. It's a great concept for dispatch centers that don't have that. Everything's fed through those headsets. So I packed them up just recently and I had staff like come get them. There's no sense in them paying for a service, paying for that phone, connection for all of those 4 buttons when we can't utilize them for when we need to. Yeah, I did a test on it, but when I did a test on it, it was quiet in the center and it works perfectly. But the problem is all that feedback when it's busy and they don't work. I mean, it's great concept for other centers. It just doesn't work for ours. So they came pick that up about 3 weeks ago. But I think you did try to use the push to talk.
Oh,
Right?
I used it. They couldn't hardly hear me because of all the radio traffic on all frequencies.
Yeah.
And they ended up hanging up and like disconnecting the button and calling me. So I was still on a phone. So it didn't really help me.
Our goal is to provide solid air medical services for the least amount of contact between our ratings.
And they don't
Centers as
use that
possible,
button.
because that's gonna make life easier for dispatchers.
Yeah.
And I could have logged into the web app. But at that point, we had so much going on that we were still, I mean, even
Yeah.
3 or 4 minutes into people being on scene, we were still getting 911 calls.
We have that app, but what we're really trying to, and even the centers that we are in first call status with right now, is what we really want to do is set us up as an agency. And if I understand it correctly, it uses the same link that the CAD has that like dispatches uses, like what this software uses, and it just sends us an email. It's gonna have all the same GPS coordinate information in it, and it literally just it skips the intake, it skips and it goes straight to a controller, correct? Okay, so it goes straight to one of our CCT controllers who are controlling the helicopters in our CCT ground operation. And it just pops up, flight request. They start putting information in, they tone a base, and then they call you guys and confirm that we are actually, that you're requesting us.
I think one of the biggest things and selling points is this takes human interaction out of it, just like the app. You have to have the thought of, oh, the phone's not working, I have to log into this app. If we set this up correctly, all you need to know is we're going to be calling you at some point and that aircraft's launched. I think the other thing is perceived time. Our crews are getting dispatched when your crews are. I think that's one of the biggest pieces too.
So
And
it's
one thing
like,
I'll say, knowing how we operate and other places operate, when we give you a time, that includes their pad time, like that includes their time to get to the helicopter to fire up and take off. Other services will just give you the flight time, which is different. So it's gonna sound like they're getting there faster, but they're not telling you how long it's taking for their team to get to the helicopter. Helicopter be ready to launch.
Yeah, and I think that needs to be communicated as well, because what they do tell us and what we relay, everybody's idea in their head, they're thinking that's the time on the scene, and that's not. That's not always what is getting relayed. Oh, well, that's not exactly that. That was just them getting to the helicopter or whatever. It's not getting relayed exactly the way they want to hear it on the scene.
Yeah, so if we're coming from somewhere and another agency's coming from the exact same spot, our time may be 6 minutes different, because we're going to give you an accurate time of how long it's gonna take our team to actually get in the air and land with you guys,
But
not just flight time.
But are you actually going to be communicating that verbally, or will it be showing on the app as
You know, we will call you to confirm that we've got the flight and we've got somebody en route.
Okay.
So, or if we aren't the closest by, I think it's 10 minutes, we will call somebody else to send them, and we'll call you and say, hey,
Staff
staff
flight or
flight,
something.
whatever, from here, we'll be there in this,
Who else do you call besides staff flight?
in Air Medical Service in Indiana. So,
I'm saying-
anybody that does air medical in Indiana. So, over the closest atmosphere, air evac has some,
Do you do out of state like Louisville or?
yeah,
Yeah.
and see, I mean,
You would call out state? This is
we,
what I'm saying.
so in our CAD, we have a tab that says closest assets.
Right.
That's what we're gonna go by. It's gonna tell us how far and how long each one would be. So when we call, we are very specific and say, hey, is this aircraft available? And they either say yes or no, and then we move down the list. So we will get you the closest aircraft.
It could be Cincinnati or it could be Louisville.
Yeah, and we will let you know that, because then if it's gonna be too long, fire department might not want them and say, no, disregard, we'll transport by ground.
Okay.
But yeah,
How spelled that red flag?
So I'll talk about that.
IFR. So they can get in the airport.
that's my understanding.
I think another big question people ask is, well, what happens when we launch and your crews get on the scene and say, hey, disregard? Like, perfect. That's what we want to happen. Obviously, like, no harm, no foul, no financial impact to that patient or the county. Like, we just turn around and go home.
Free flying.
Yeah, our crews love it.
Yeah, we love it. Free flying. They didn't really need us, which is a good thing, you know. So the next thing that I would like to touch on is, and this is definitely a project for down the road that I would love to do, whether we're all or not. In Monroe County, we have built into our GPS and several, if not all of the helicopters in the fleet, predetermined landing zones. I know there's already a list
Yeah.
here.
So we have that. Well, I mean, I think it's on that application with staff flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I would like to do, it would
We've
be
got-
to translate that straight into the helicopters to where we could easily build it in the CAD.
Would
That
you not have that if you have that application already?
the LZs are there, but the GPS coordinates are transmitted to us and we have to punch them in. When we get called to Monroe County, the CAD says, okay, this is the closest LZ to that. And it automatically tells us, is it MC number, like whatever number it is. So we may be going to MC 8. And that is the middle school in Monroe County, and we already know we want to land there.
So maybe that verbiage is what I'm thinking all over.
I think we probably just need to update our LC locations as well.
And
Yeah.
what I would do, you'll just need to get them to our,
Is
once we would just put them in our system.
Yeah.
Because
Because some of
staff
them
flight's
are,
not gonna give us their stuff. So,
so maybe that's what it is.
yeah, so you've already got it built. You would just have to give us that list
Yeah.
and we would build it ourselves.
It's the same software,
Yeah.
but there's
Is
right information for them. For
and this is a question from me to you guys, whenever we launch, are we getting Monroe's LZs from Monroe, or is that our information populating that?
So the way it works is they give us the LZs, they get approved by the lead pilot, we build them, and then they just have to tell us which LZ they want to use. So
Okay.
they'll have a list and you say, we're gonna land it. This LZ, we put it in, you guys get it. Right on.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I don't like on the application software, and that is how to determine I-74. You know what I'm talking about then?
Oh, yeah. So just
You cannot determine by mile marker. The only way you can find it on the map in the midst of chaos in a dispatch center
Yeah.
is you have to zoom in as much as possible and find the county road that's gonna intersect near that mile marker to pinpoint and drop for your landing zone, if you're gonna land on I-74.
Let me ask you this question,
Is
whenever.
that correct?
yes.
Pretty
Whenever
much.
a call comes into you and you say mile marker or whatever, is that cell giving GPS coordinates for that scene in the CAD system?
if it's called,
In the CAD system, yeah.
Right, okay, so If we set up our email link, you don't have to give us that.
We wouldn't have to go on the app through
No,
that.
it automatically
There's-
sends.
we're gonna skip- Yeah, we're gonna skip, yeah.
Okay.
So I come from 17 years in 911 too. I was at Johnson County. Everybody there hated using the app. I get it. Like, it's just something else they have to log into and figure out how to use. We're gonna completely skip that step.
Okay,
So whatever is in your CAD, so lat and long, any kind of narrative can be ingested into flight vector from when you drop us onto that call.
So whenever Clarksburg gets an e-dispatch for a call as their call, that same information that is going out to the fire departments through the app is the same information that we
did you
get.
guys get a map?
It will matter.
It pulls that one. And
Yeah.
and like, it pulls that big flat long and then it plots it on the map.
It'll
And
be
our
on the
CAD
app,
will-
you can click on
But
it.
then
and
like
it's there.
there.
See, I don't see that side of it
Right.
with you guys. I don't.
Unless our CAD, our CAD is gonna take that lat and long, there's Decatur County scene request, here's the lat and long, there's the scene. If you want us to go somewhere else, we translate
Okay.
that later.
You would go see their cat or their communication center. I get to.
They did get
It's actually pretty.
Hey, okay, that's where you got it.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
So you can see what they. see
Josh,
on
you
their
wanna go
screen.
with me?
It's in 2028.
Yeah.
Is that your next schedule available?
No,
So,
I like the CAD.
I was getting ready to ask you.
Yeah,
Josh, what's your room, but
I really like that. I think from kind of our internal, how we use like placeholder units right now for dispatching. I think there may be some ways, and I don't know, maybe you guys have done this with other agencies. Like if we're just wanting a check, not necessarily a, hey, we think we need it. Is there a difference for us on, we assign a unit that's like a lifeline check and you get it versus, no, we just send it and when you call us, you're gonna think everything is it's a definite role because realistically for you, you're prepping for that regardless.
I think, given my experience in 911 and now experience on a helicopter, we would prefer to just launch us.
Okay.
And if you don't need us, then we turn around.
I was just trying to think through, because we have, like I said, we use placeholder units, but yeah, exactly how we dispatch GFD or the CFD unit.
Yeah, just launch us. And realistically, what's gonna happen is, we want to be off the ground in 10 minutes. And that's our goal. We want to be off the ground faster than that, but we want to be off the ground in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, somebody's gonna be on that scene and gonna tell you whether you need a helicopter or not. So just launch us. And then we don't have to worry about, well, is it greater than 20 nautical miles? We're gonna go ahead and spin up and launch. Like, blah, 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 blah. Just.
so when that happens, would we have to add them as a unit?
CNA, see, would be.
So we'll make Lifeline an actual unit to add and attach to the call.
Yeah, it would literally just be like the GFD S1 or CFD EMS, same.
And then you don't have to worry about it anymore. Our people will receive it, our average, we've got it within 50 seconds. Is that what
30 is pretty much.
30 seconds?
We'll probably be on the phone with you within a minute of getting it, because we're gonna send the weather check and so while we're weather checking and the pilot's accepting, we're gonna be confirming the information with you to make sure we've got the right stuff. And
We got the right stuff,
yeah, by that,
which means then we're reaching out to you, obviously, which you guys probably will just be marking me around. The answers, but
I mean,
Well, when he says the right stuff, I think he
Yeah,
just means
it's
education of.
like the right
oh, yeah.
What,
Yeah.
what are we responding to? What
Yeah.
possibilities?
And from a crew standpoint, to have that, because if you call, you say we need a helicopter, usually it's just helicopter to here. From a crew standpoint, we're gonna get all of the information that you put up into the CAD until the point that you dispatch us. It's not gonna give us live information past that. But, so we're gonna be able to see also what we're coming on, and we can start, our little wheels start turning about how we're gonna do whatever it is we're gonna make contact. So just from a continuity of care standpoint, from beginning to end, it's really nice. You had a question. I saw your hand.
I did.
Yes. Have you forgotten that question?
Of course it is. I turned around or breathed or something.
Breathe and it just-
Yeah, cool. Yeah. I guess my big question is this the
suggestion or request of EMS and dispatch?
Because for one, it's bigger aircraft or better care, or not, I'm not saying better care for the patients because they've got
You
great.
you had this bigger aircraft after that
Right,
one on, at the 132.
right, where they have to grease them to get them in. We don't have to worry about a litter because they've got their own cot. We don't have to, they can see the whole patient and take care of the whole patient. Like if we would have flown, when we flew that semi guy, they can't see his bottom half or do anything with that. And that's where all his injuries were. They carry more blood. Staff light, I've learned, only carries one unit. They carry 3 whole and 6 split. If the other ones were staff light only carried the 1. If we used the 1 in 5 minutes, and they were where we're at. I think it's just better. And then the building part of it, where we're not, burdening our patients with these decisions to fly them past what their deductible is, what their insurance.
Personally, if I would have known about these billing practices when I was in 911, it would have been a no-brainer for me then, because I always had that, okay, find somebody, am I gonna bankrupt this person or not?
I think another big thing is the act came in 2022. We didn't change our billing practices.
It was
We were
always
doing
like
that from the inception.
It was
I
always,
think that's
since 1979, that's been our billing practice.
That's exactly what I asked him. And when he came, I literally had just went through training the week prior with staff light for everybody, and I kept saying, Justin,
I know.
literally just last week, and it was like, to me, it was just no brainer. And I told him, I said, that should be your selling point as for with anybody. I mean, that alone, just the fact of I can speak on because he worked there and he knows all about the medical side of it, and just me listening to it as for what we can give back to the community as far as the money side of it, the care side of it, and the money side of it. Me is, I think, huge. It's huge. I mean, for my family, if they were going to be flown out and not have to worry about that, tens of thousands of dollars or however much it is now. I mean, I know when I used to work in insurance almost 30 years ago, it used to be over $5,000 back then. So I don't even know how much it is now. What is it, 20,000 now?
Or
No, I don't even know.
give or take.
Oh my gosh.
Another zero. I'm a lot.
It's very expensive. I mean, with inflation, goes up everything, right?
So see, I mean, I'm like,
Nate, anything on your end for your guys?
I mean, and this is not a contract, right?
It is not a contract.
This is not a contract, and it can always be changed.
And if
But
you
It seems a whole lot easier for you guys.
If you decide that, man, these guys are terrible, we don't want them, we're still in your system.
Yeah.
The CAD link is always gonna be there, just from a community standpoint. I live here. And if my family's gotta be flying, I don't want even the smallest minute chance of a burden on them. Or maybe they really, really needed it, but maybe we thought they needed it and they didn't need it, like, I don't want that burden on them.
somebody asked me, I don't even know when, but asked why staff light is our first call. It's because that's what was implemented when we went consolidated to such, you had to pick one. And at the time it was staff light. And why were we doing staff light? Because at the time, staff light's the one that came in. Staff light's the one that said, if we can't do it, we'll call Lifeline. So that's what we went with.
Our policy is exactly the same. And I'm not gonna preach that we're always gonna be available. That's not how the world works. We may be on a different call. Both of our closest bases may be on a different call. We may have an aircraft out for maintenance, for some reason, but we're going to call the closest helicopter to you. That is a promise I can make. And these guys will stand behind this one. Absolutely.
I think the biggest thing is like, whatever you all decide, like, we are here for you. Like, no matter for your patients, we're always gonna be there. So like, no matter
I
what,
mean, I
like,
definitely
we just
wanna
want it to
see-
be easier and seamless for you and, the patients and the crews out on the street.
I definitely would hope that if Lifeline had an ETA of 14 minutes, the staff light had 12. it's getting called for stoplight, right?
No.
Within 10 minutes, we're gonna launch our helicopter.
Because the
reason that-
time we make that phone call,
That's
and then
minutes.
they weather check,
Okay,
then their time is.
whatever,
That's
you know
why-
what I'm getting at.
Yes, yes, if it's some egregious time, we are not taking the flight, we are getting the flight.
Yeah,
To
okay.
set flight.
And it's whatever our availability is at that moment. Like if we know that we've got a base that they should be coming up soon, from their pre-flight, whatever, it doesn't matter. They're not in service right now. They're out of the equation. We're gonna launch the closest helicopter.
Would there ever be just to her point, a time where the Newcastle helicopter flies over Rushville to get down here when we have a helicopter in Rushville that's closer?
If the,
Stuff is the same thing with their Seymour aircraft.
they do. Right now.
Much rather Columbus.
And the
yeah.
reason why that happens, and I will say the reason why that happens is it takes so long, it takes time for human interaction to human interaction to human interaction to launch another agency's helicopter. You can launch your own within that 10-minute window, you can launch your own, and it will be here faster than the wheels to start turning for another agency to come. Right?
So our policy used to be 5 minutes. If somebody was 5 minutes closer, we would call them. But that 5 minutes gets eaten up so quick that we're losing time. So that's why we went to 10 minutes, because that's what it takes for us to get a helicopter dispatched, weather checked, and air.
Yeah.
Versus 5, where it's just not reasonable.
So that's our policy is 10 minutes. So if we check our CAD system and flight time from Newcastle is 18 minutes and the flight time from Rushville is 12 minutes, we're gonna launch our bird. And they're gonna fly right over it because we don't have that interagency time loss of launching another agency.
But if it was more than that, if it was more than the.
If it was more than the 10 minutes, we would launch Rushville.
So the other thing, wrap things up, we had talked, because you said, for example, when we talked in the office, if there was a motorcycle accident, and you said we would just automatically launch. Well, we don't
have that set up.
We don't label motorcycle accidents.
You could, if you wanted to go into your CAD and change your labels.
Yeah, and we just, it would be PI accidents, type unknown. So,
Right.
we would have come to that determination where you guys wanted to be obviously put at, so.
I would say right
Pretty
now, where
broad.
we would stand is you're going to make the
Confirm.
determination.
Probably confirmed PIs. But
Whatever you guys decide to do will assist in setting the link to get us CAD to CAD communication. If in the future you decide that you want to set up different types of PIs, that some auto launch, some don't auto launch.
that would be something we would, after we would talk together to your guys' input and then see final, if your
Whatever you
input.
want to do. Yeah,
Okay.
whatever you want to do. And like I said, even if the board decided that we don't make Lifeline the first call, we would love to set ourselves up in your CAD just to make your dispatchers' lives a little easier.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a huge undertaking. The undertaking of setting up different call types is probably much larger than setting us up as an agency in the CAD.
Yeah, I know how, like Madison County, that's where I'm from, they use this scenario. They are a little different. They do like serious PIs in their CAD. So that'd be like car versus motorcycle, car versus pedestrian, ejection, stuff like that. And we are tied to that specific call card. So anytime there's a serious PI in Madison County. So like Justin said, like if you ever did decide to build it, like you could do something like that.
And that would be much simpler than setting up like motorcycle or road. You could just set up a serious PI. Any questions? Josh, you have any questions? Kind of delving into your realm with the CAD stuffs.
All makes sense. I like that we can work it in with current integrations, not.
And we've
That
worked,
18 service I have to install and manage.
as I understand, we've already worked with Spillman agencies doing this, correct? Because Johnson County is Spillman.
Yep.
And they're doing,
Literally would be swimming.
yeah. Is Madison County Spillman?
They're Tyler.
They're Tyler. Okay, so, but we have, it's thankfully, since it's email driven, all it has to do is send us an email.
Monroe.
Yeah.
Does it,
Brown County does it. Yeah, Madison County.
So do you need a motion?
There's Spelman.
Who wants?
Who
I'll make that motion, we change to,
I'll second.
Primary.
That's priority response.
yes, primary response.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Brown, I believe is.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
So we'll have to figure out when we can make that.
Your people give it my people. We'll have cookies. Mr. Holm will leave a business card for both of you guys.
There you have. Leland, you want to speak on the Millhouse and fire stuff?
Well, let me get my notes here. Did you get those copies as well, Nate?
I did, I didn't print them out, but I did get them.
So, back in March, Fire Chief Matt Stone had sent me some changes where he is wanting to change some jurisdictional boundaries with Marion Township and Letts. That's to include South County Road 60 Southwest between the cross streets of West County Road 750 South and West County Road 800 South. The parcels with the physical address is going to be on the east side of the above stated portion of that roadway. It's going to affect the current addresses of 7564. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 addresses on 60 Southwest that it's actually going to affect, and that's it. He's already spoken with Chief Morrow, and he got his approval. They've signed off on it. Just the fact of bringing it to the board for approval of changing those jurisdictional boundaries. And then again, that would require some map updating on our part, getting that changed as well.
It looks like it was just probably an oversight.
Yeah.
From, because
When
they've done a change before, kind of like what we did with Sarah 3 North, wanting to not have the road be the divider. There's one part though, that where half a mile section where.
The straight line. I think they tried to keep it straight, but this one had the jog in it. And that came to our attention when we did a dispatch. Yes, they both signed off on
They
it.
actually thought it was and just thought our maps were wrong.
Yeah, they
We
told
went back and
dispatch
forth.
on the radio that, no, that's wrong, it's leads, and then no, that's required investigation, that no, it is.
Even in discussion, they were both under the impression, they were both under the impression that that's how it was. And it literally, there's that half mile section where Southwest 60 is perfectly straight. And it just got missed. But both chiefs actually even thought that already was the agreement. So
Yeah.
it's really just a formality.
I'll make the motion to make that change.
Yeah.
I'll say.
What's the Greensburg one?
You want to talk about that one since you got that one? I've got so many of them. It's already
We're about to go.
you're gonna have to do that one, I think. Got too many papers.
It's the same, it's the
Yeah,
same,
same
it's the
scenario.
same scenario.
On 300 South.
Yeah, on 300 South, it was missed. It didn't go with the property boundaries, it went with the road boundaries.
Both chiefs are in favor.
Yes.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign. Board elections.
I move we keep the same
Second.
Great. Let's say I'm sure you can do it that way, but whatever. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Great.
Bird math so fast back here.
So, great job. All right. Next meeting is the second. There a motion to adjourn?
Just real quick
Well-
before the adjournment.
We're gonna now.
For the stop, pump the brakes. So just to make clarification, those maps on those changes for the fire department.
Yes.
will,
2 days.
Yes.
Again, within 60 days.
That's even these
Let's try to
changes
lump
that
them
we
all
just
three
spoke
together.
about. It's all the same map, right?
Yeah,
That's why
on the same map, so.
instead of trying to do 3 changes, I would rather give more time to get it all done.
Correct, just lump them all
So
together.
yes, it's been approved, but
The response plans are in effect most immediately and then mapping 60 days.
Response plans can be in,
We'll buy a response plan.
which the majority of them do, but it's just when there's a question or concern, the map is there.
that's gonna cause, these will cause really big confusion if they go in and they dispatch by the response plan and then they go back and see the map, because that's usually what happens. Then they see it on the map and then they freak out that they've done something wrong and they've sent the wrong fire department, so.
I think
Fire
maybe just-
department's gonna have to be patient until the
Right.
maps are updated, and dispatch is just gonna have to know that, like, you may or may not be sending the right unit to
I
But
think.
sometimes that
fire.
doesn't.
Yeah, I mean,
There's somebody going.
I don't think there's only, I think there's only like 6, maybe less than 10 addresses in all
Yeah.
parcels involved.
Well,
So I mean,
You
granted,
know,
those
as soon
people
as
could
we-
be the
we
call.
do this, then
Right,
that's gonna be
that'll be
where-
who calls, but
That's how we even found out about literally those
correct.
homes.
And then it was just, then it was just looking at all the posts, but no, it makes a lot more sense to do all that at one time.
All right. That's all I wanted.
You good? Okay.
Any other announcements?
Yes. So been working back and forth. I know I sent an email, I think, to like the old board and let everyone know. We finally made some headway with Motorola and ERS on returning, replacing, fixing the improper parts ordered for the 700 megahertz repeater. I've been working with their tech. They have this process where they have to program it and then let it sit powered on and burn in for 7 days before they will install it. So they did that a week and a half ago. We scheduled the install for 10 a.m. this morning for them to start. Should be done within a day. They sent me a message at 4 p.m. last night and said, "Oh, we found another missing part. We've ordered it. It's to be delivered Friday." So they've rescheduled it for 9 a.m. Monday. So it's still,
I really told myself coming into this meeting, I wasn't gonna get upset.
I know.
How the hell do you just find a missing part? It's months into this.
For 6 months.
This, I have a theory, but I'm gonna hold off on that theory until it's installed.
They not have a climber?
Is it because of the Rome part was ordered to begin with?
Well, that was the first one, and then the second inventory, something else came up, and now this is the third. And I'm just kind of curious what they're gonna show up with Monday. I do have confidence, though, after talking to the actual engineer for frequencies or programming, that we at least have all of the technical components. I think it may truly be some of the ancillary, that other PO that we haven't paid yet. It's the hangers and the brackets and the cable routing within there and the rack mount equipment. I think for it to be something that they were able to order last night and be here Friday morning, that's not a Motorola part. We don't get Motorola parts in 2 days. It's probably a site thing. I would have said, go ahead and come tomorrow, and if you have to come back and clean up the cable, that's fine, but
I'll
also.
take a cable tie over there.
Yeah, but also I was like,
Yeah, how about we just
they
get it
had
on
already
property?
said we can do it Monday. I was like, you know what, that's fine, because it was scheduled for right now too, and I've got a guy off today, and the other 3 people that have access to get in there right now are all here. So I wasn't too worried about. I just said, go ahead. Just go.
Monday at 10.
You're gonna be watching out your window,
Oh,
aren't you?
he is. He's gonna have that camera turned and zoomed in.
4:30, it'll send an email, sorry.
Actually,
Must be good, so.
Actually, it's all inside work also, so weather shouldn't even be a factor either. The cables are dressed down and ready, so we just have to get it cut.
Have been for
There you go. Yeah, months. There's probably cobwebs growing on.
Busy.
I do. 10 of them.
And some really nice recliners.
they are.
Not too bad. Pillow top mattresses, cup holders.
I'll send it. Oh, he's gonna send it.
You can slide down the pole if you have an emergency response. Boom. No, you probably hurt your knee even more.
Did we make a motion to adjourn? Oh, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Right. Well,
Don't get we-